Good afternoon, everybody. How are you today? And welcome to the latest edition of Drew Media Live. Nice to have you with us for this Thursday, the 7th day of December, the year 2018. And of course, this is yours truly, Andrew L. Perry. Oh, yes, indeed. As always, coming alive and at you from the busy streets, which is Brooklyn, New York. And it's a cold Brooklyn, New York, as we all know, as I chat to you what is happening in the world of sports. We have a lot to discuss today. We have a lot to do right now. So let's get right to it. Shall we? As we talk with mostly football the rest of the way. Sparkling a little baseball here or there. A lot of off-season moves we heard. We'll get to it in a second. But I want to start off with a little college football and, of course, the Kareem Hunt. And the Kareem Hunt situation we'll get to a lot. We have so little time. So there's so much I could get to. So we'll get to it I'll get to it as much as possible. But let's start. Like I mentioned, let's start off with the college football playoff as the Heisman Trophy is coming up this Saturday. This Saturday night, and the final game of the college football year. As if you're a college football fan, there's one game left, and it's one of the greatest traditions in college football. Besides outside of Michigan and Ohio State, you could argue this is probably the most celebrated rivalry in all of college sports, and that's Army versus Navy. Should be a lot of fun. I think they're doing it not sure if they're doing it for Philadelphia or for Baltimore, but throughout the years, they always mix it up here and there as far as where the team is going to go and so forth. But go for it. But again, let's start off at the playoffs as the Heisman Trophy. As I mentioned, is coming up this Saturday. We have Tagovailoa for Alabama, who's been sensational throughout the whole entire season of college football, throughout the whole entire season this year. The quarterback, Dwayne Hawkins from Ohio State, and Kyle Murray from the University of Oklahoma. All quarterbacks who were in the finals in this year's Heisman Trophy. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know how to get in, but to me, if I'm going to pick either one of them, to me, the one person who is not even close, obviously, is Tagovailoa from Alabama. He's going to be a slam dunk winner because it wasn't even close. Because we see Hawkins from Ohio State play lousy against Purdue, and I'll get to Ohio State in a second. As far as the playoff system is going on. But anywho, they are so the Tagovailoa from Alabama. The kid got, besides a talented arm, the Alabama has put up more points than the whole entire Nick Saban. They scored at least more than 50 touchdowns this year. They have blown everybody, probably except Georgia. But majority of the team they play is either they build a small lead into a big lead. And we all know how Alabama have a solid defense. They are defensive team, how so superior defensive team Alabama is. But now they are become, but with Dave Tagovailoa as your quarterback now, they are become a more superior, dangerous team offensively. Just look it up. They score more touchdowns. They score more touchdowns now, which is incredible. It really is. There's no question about it. As far as like I said, as far as the whole Heisman Trophy, To me, when you hear about Heisman, who's going to be the Heisman, you hear it all year. And the name I keep thinking about is, of course, Tagovailoa from Alabama, the quarterback. And I think I will be shocked if he did not win this Heisman Trophy this year. I'll be shocked. To me, Alabama is, without question, the best team in college football, obviously. But as far as Wayne Hankinson from Alabama, Ohio State, excuse me. Ohio State for a team who should be at least in the top 4 teams or whatever or whatnot. You want to tell me you deserve to win the Heisman, where you lost to Purdue by 30 points. 30 points. And you have close calls with Maryland. Almost got upset, I should say, by Maryland. Play a close call to Nebraska, teams you're supposed to beat. I'm supposed to give you the Heisman? And Kyle Murray, I've seen him a couple of times. He's impressive. I gotta give him that. He's impressive. He's explosive, very athletic. But again, I see him look bad against Texas. And Texas is a good team. I'm not taking anything away from Texas. Texas is a hell of a team. And they almost lost to Texas last weekend in the championship game. It really has. So if you put majority of things more in perspective, I expect the kid from Alabama to win the whole thing. I'll be shocked if he didn't. But hey, they're Alabama. And I know this is a week ago, but I gotta get into Ohio State, Michigan. I really do. I cannot leave this podcast without talking about Michigan, Ohio State. To me, Jim Harbaugh, for number one defense number one defense in the country, and you play like lousy to Ohio State. Hey, listen, give Ohio State credit. Ohio State played sensational football. They did. But as far as Jim Harbaugh looked like, in that game, top balls. He didn't have the team prepared. There were no adjustments whatsoever for Michigan. And in my eyes, they played too stiff. And for me, if Jim Harbaugh got to send a message loud and clear that this cannot continue. How many times since since Jim Harbaugh, go back to the NFL days. Go back to when he was playing for the San Francisco 49ers. They do not play well in big games. The 49ers, like I mentioned, he was a coach for the 49ers. Went to 4 championships. 4 NFC titles. Went to 1 Super Bowl. Lost. Stanford. How many what he did in Stanford besides upset USC? Since he got into Michigan, and he turned Michigan around. Michigan is far superior team than when Brady Hoke was there. I will say that, or Rich Rodriguez. But it's the same old, same old. You cannot beat Ohio State. And to me, Harbaugh got to send a message. This is not a stop treating an Ohio State Michigan game like it's a Penn State game, or like it's a Washington game. This is Ohio State. Because I guarantee you, Ohio State don't treat a Michigan-Ohio State game like it's a regular game. Ohio State treated it like it's a big game. And to me, Michigan played it like it's just a regular game. No, it's not. You're playing your long-time bitter rival. And what we saw 2 weeks ago was disgraceful. Disgraceful. Yes, you made it 19-21, but in the second half, y'all look putrid. You let Ohio State, yes, it's in the horseshoe. You let Ohio State, for a team who had the number one defense, again, the number one defense in all of college football this year. You let your hated rival ran for Alabama in the. We're going to finish. Someday we're going to finish it. When is it? When is it? That's the thing you got to ask yourself if you're Alabama. That's the thing you got to ask. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Okay? Where do at some point that Georgia is going to say enough is enough? Because I know how good Georgia is. You lose to Iowa last year and got bumped out. Now, yes, you won the Big Ten title and you got bumped out by Oklahoma. But you lost. But you had close calls with Nebraska, as I mentioned earlier in this program. It's really, really, absolutely, positively ridiculous that you guys are going to be upset and hell-bent. I don't know. Typical. Typical. I mean, if it was Michigan, I guess Michigan will whine and die and complain about the same thing. Same doggone thing. Yeah. But if you're interested, and by the way, the conference titles, we got to do, by the way, one last thing. As far as the conference title, you got to do something about that conference title. There was no, and thank God I had to work that day because I would have been bored to death. There were no game on. Literally. Texas, Oklahoma would have been interesting if Oklahoma lost. If Oklahoma wins, it really doesn't matter. Because if Georgia beat Alabama, Alabama's not losing their spot. They're not. Clemson is not losing to Pitt. And Notre Dame and the team with the best spot, the team who control their own destiny is Notre Dame, honestly, because they don't have to play in no conference title. So the conference title is really, if you want a perfect example, it's a waste of time. It was this year. It really was. All right. Now that's the story with the college football, with the NCAA football.